And the big thing to remember is your values are your values and not anyone else's. So I value gardening. My husband values cooking. So it's not to say I don't help him or vice versa, but my heart's not in cooking. I eat healthily, but I could settle for really simple. For lunch when he's not around, I'll blitz a whole swag of greens in the Thermomix and have a green smoothie, and I'm done in 5 minutes. So that works for me. So looking at property investing as well, my husband and I are more passionate about renovating than building new. So, and this is what I call a shared value. So it's interesting. You may have different values that conflict. You might, and just as you have with your mentor, Rachel, you might wish to work on your property portfolio, and your husband might be working on his business, and they may or may not clash at times. So the other thing is, you might have a property portfolio that you really want to get stuck into, and at the same time you've got a high value on your family time. And what happens is you start feeling guilty and also frustrated because you're spending too much time perhaps researching property, and you feel as though you're neglecting your family or your family duties. So this then brings in yet another factor, and that's your roles in your life. So if you connect to your roles lists, which I'm about to run through, and you see that family is down as a priority role above property, then this will help you act accordingly. This will alleviate that guilt and frustration, because you'll work to your goals because they're aligned with your roles and also your values. So let's look at these roles.
Okay,
so
it's as you say, I can understand that, because we've from when I do interviews for property women, and there's a lot of women that have their goals specifically set for property but not specifically set for family, and so sometimes they don't meet their property ones because family are there, but they haven't actually set a goal around the family, so it makes it difficult for them to feel that they're achieving anything, and that can mean that they lack confidence, or they get demotivated because they don't feel that they're achieving what they've set out to, and that's probably because they haven't put the high value of their family actually on their goals.
Yeah, correct. So we're going to look at goals in a balanced way. So we're going to actually pluck a goal out of each of those crucial areas to create a beautiful 360 rotation, if you like, of balanced goals. So let's look at our roles primarily, though. What I want you to do is actually put yourself down first. I do this task with clients, and they put themselves down as a wife or a lover or sister, brother, mother, and so the list goes down. Community member, sports team player, friend, relative, employee, boss, investor, self-employed. But I say, whereabouts are you on that? And they go, oh no. So put yourself down first. So, and then I just want you to brainstorm all your roles, and they're going to be different for everybody. Once you've done that, and even if you forget some roles, you can put them down later, prioritise them, whack them in order, still with yourself first.
Okay, so whether you're going to be the mother first, or you're going to be the daughter perhaps first, or you're going to be the employer first, you've got to get that into priority next. Okay.
Yeah. And if you're having trouble doing that, ask yourself, is being a mother more important than being a wife? If you cannot decide, it's okay to put them level pegging. I'm not going to chop your arms off or anything like that if you don't do it. So I've got a client actually who puts both his values, okay, and his roles as a doctor as number one before his wife and family. Now that's his absolute choice. Remembering a coach remains totally non-judgmental. He is on marriage number 3. So perhaps it's time perhaps he moved up his other values so things might go a little smoothly in those other areas. So if you have cash flow issues, for example, or look where this is on your values list. So I'm just flipping back to values, and this could be moved up. So same as with your role, when we set goals, we're going to flip back to our hierarchy of roles and our hierarchy of values and see if they are congruent.
Okay.
Okay, so And remember, all roles and values can and do change. It's good to look at these every 12 months. I had my mother, who's since passed on, who I would travel to the country every week pretty much, and I started feeling that I was actually putting her before my family, but I felt drawn to go to the country because she was on a downward spiral, and it was eating at me because I had this duality of duty and care, of course, but also to my family. So I went back and I looked at my roles, and because after myself, my number one role, or number two role, was as a mother, and then as a wife. At that point in time, that things will change there, and my mother was after that. So once I looked back at those roles and thought, no, this is what my heart is saying, I was able to perhaps spend more time with the family without feeling guilty if I didn't scoot up to the country to visit my mother. So it's a really valuable little tool.
Okay.
So we're going to run through the SMART Goals guidelines that you hope you've received a copy. You can get that copy. Now these are a standard guideline, but they're really valuable, and we want to subject each of our goals when we formulate them to this SMART but pure test. I've got a couple other points there that need to be addressed. So they're fairly self-explanatory, and once again you can get a hand if you need to with these. So SMART, we use the first letter out of the word. The first one is specific, then measurable, attainable, relevant, and time frame. So I'll scoot through each one of those. So the specific goal: is your goal well defined? So your goal must be clear and concise, and avoid setting unclear or vague objectives. So that's specific. Measurable, and be clear here how you will recognise when you've actually achieved that goal. And a hint here is to actually use numbers and dates where possible, so you can measure it, sorry, get my words out. So with those non-tangible goals, which we spoke about last time, the ones that are a bit harder to measure, they can be measured differently. You can actually ask yourself, how am I now feeling around these goals? And if you're feeling heavy, they're either not working for you or you haven't completed them, or are you feeling light? So you can check in with feelings. You don't have to articulate everything and measure everything. It can just be a feeling.
And that is interesting, because I know when I did that session with you for a couple of hours, I found, I think we're only like 5 or 10 minutes into the session, and you said to me, how do you feel now? And I know you're saying light there, but that's exactly how I felt. Was lighter. And it wasn't that I would have weighed anything different, it's just, and it's very hard to define. But if anybody's listening to you saying, you know, heavy, feeling heavy or light, honestly, when you're at that stage, you'll feel it, that you know, it's on the right path. You feel that much lighter within you.
Yeah. And ask yourself, if you see something pretty ugly, an accident or someone getting hurt, does that feel heavy or does that feel light? You'll be able to articulate that straight away. If you see something that really makes your heart sing and smile, or is funny, are you feeling heavy or are you feeling light?
Yeah.
So, okay. So attainable. Don't set yourself up for failure. Setting yourself goals that you cannot possibly achieve will only end in disappointment. So make your goals challenging but realistic. I have people come to me and they say, right, I'm going to do a fitness goal. I'm going to run 7 days a week. So good on you. My week's 5 days. And they go, oh, okay. So straight away they've got 2 days to make up if they miss. Other people, it's up to them, of course, if they can do it. But what we do is we start off slow. I say, oh, that's fantastic. You want to build up to that. You're only going to do it for 2 days. And once you've done that for a month, then we're going to up it. Okay, so we're not setting ourselves up for failure. Now they need to be relevant. So try and step back and get an overview of all the different areas of your life and consider how relevant your goals are to your overall picture. And time framed. Set a time frame for completion of these goals. So even if you have to review this time frame as you progress, it assists you to stay motivated. So
I read somewhere the other day, they said, sorry to interrupt, they said something like, the reason a lot of goals don't get done is because they're set for either tomorrow or yesterday, but they don't do it today, you know. I didn't do it before, I'm going to do it in the future, you know, but now, just do it now.
No, seriously, we're our own master saboteur to stay stuck. So yeah, we'll set these ridiculously unachievable goals. So, and the idea is not to make them that hard. It's the idea is to make them challenging, for sure, but not unachievable. So we also subject each of these goals to what I call the PURE test. So it's PURE test, and that is we want them to be positively stated, understood for the U, realistic for the R, and also ethical. So most of those are actually self-evident and require no further elaboration, but a couple of observations. If the goal isn't realistic, there's no hope, but if it's not challenging, there's no motivation. So it's a combination of that inspired action versus a bit of competitive action. Okay, so you're only competing against yourself, but you want to challenge yourself a little bit. All right. So, and it's also very important to state goals in the positive. Remember, we're moving towards, not away. So if I say to you, okay, Rach, don't think of a blue balloon.
Stop it, I can see a blue balloon.
So if goals are stated in the negative, just as we were talking before, you will focus on that negative. So
like the smoking, the weight, the debt.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wealth, happiness,
Yeah, we know. Everyone knows about those whinging people about their illnesses and ailments. You go, oh my goodness. Besides it being heavy energy, they're generally the ones that are sick all the time as well. So now the length of time for a goal. Goals can be whatever length of time you want them to be. They're your goals. So long-term goals, so we want them to be general and without a fixed date. So this is where you can use those beautiful vision boards where you put lots of pictures and quotes and images and colour, and you walk past them daily and you can see them. The things that really make your heart sing. And so have your overall big picture goals, and I've found that yearly goals and 5-year goals are a great way to go. So some thoughts are that 2 years is the way to go, because life's changing so quickly. So remember, the choice is always yours. So work with them all and see what works for you. Okay, so now we're talking about balance goals, and this is where I'll get you to write a couple bits and pieces down again.
Oh, exercise, pen and paper at the ready.
Pen and paper, get poised. So we're going to divide a page into 4 quadrants. You can have it landscape or portrait, whichever way you want your page. This is going to be into 4 quadrants. So the first quadrant is going to be physical. This is actually generally the largest. So we'll just mark the headings in each of the quadrants first. So we've got physical, then mental, then emotional, and then spiritual. Now if I scoot through these too quickly, I'm sure we can get the notes to you afterwards. So physical goals are things like your health, so it can be goals around health, fitness, financial, material goals, okay? So you can see why that one might be a biggie. Your mental goals include things like education, career, and knowledge accumulation. Your emotional quadrant, that's going to be about family, relationships, partner, the partner you want to be or the partner you want to have. And spiritual, that's going to be about something that ensures you feel centered. Okay, now this could be painting, in my case it's gardening, besides many others, bushwalking, meditation, reading, religious commitments, whatever you like there. So you decide what quadrant they go into, and if you want to split them up into 2 quadrants, that is totally okay.
Keep it simple, keep to 4 at this point for me.
Well, this one here is where you brainstorm. Brainstorm everything you want to do as a goal, okay? Just brainstorm, list. We're not actually perhaps expanding so much on this. This is just a brain dump as to what your goals are in those areas.
Okay, so tell yourself there's no silly ideas, just write it all down.
Go for it, that's right. And this is also another area where people get stuck. We've got fantastic techniques that we can use to actually elicit goals and create goals. They're all in there. So now what we want to do is number those in each of the different quadrants. Start numbering your dot points, if you like, in order of priority.
So the first, so list each. So four. If you've got 4 different physical goals, then you would them in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, and the same with mental, same with emotional, same with spiritual.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you might have 20 there. It's totally your call. So next we're going to go over to our values list that you've so diligently done, and we're going to look at those values, those things that really float your boat, if you like. So, and then you're going to look back at your goal list and go, wow, that one's right up there with my number 1 value. Oh, I might put that priority up a little, or I've got that one on my goal list that does not rate in my values. Either sort your values out or sort your goal out, okay? And then also go across and look at your roles and compare back to your goal list and go, I'm a little bit unbalanced here. I've put all my roles down as, my goals down as that part of me that's a sports team player and nothing to do with any other areas of my life. I'm probably going to be very broke or very, very unhealthy or something like that. So you may want to reprioritise them. So
okay, so we're taking these. We've got these 4 different quadrants. We've got them in priority. We've listed them all. Say we have, because we wouldn't have done that in the last 2 minutes. But we would have prioritised them, and then we've ticked them off to our values list to make sure that they're high on our values list. Otherwise, we're not going to probably achieve them. And then to make sure that they're within the right roles that are high on our list of roles as well, or that they're across different roles, so that we're balanced in our roles as well.
Beautiful.
Okay, cool.
Spot on. Spot on. So
that's an extra technique that you don't do, isn't it, normally? I mean, normally you've got the SMART goals when you're in business, or, you know, even just in real estate or whatever, you're looking at those SMART goals, but you very rarely put it together with the values and your own personal roles. Cool.
That's right, and this part, all of this emotional intelligence is generated from how we feel, and those feelings come from that 95 plus to 98% of our subconscious mind, not that 2 to 10% of conscious mind. So they're really big drivers. So those SMART goals often just cover our conscious choices. This is going really deep and getting really congruent across the board. So next we want to choose a time frame. So go through all those areas and just put down roughly how long you think you'd like this goal to be. Now, some of them could be your lifetime goal. So this is like your big bucket list, if you like. So what I'm going to get you to do, once you've done that, not that you're doing it now, is I'm going to give you a 6-step strategy.
And this is to achieve 4 goals in 90 days?
Strategies. Beautiful.
Okay.
Yep. This gets you totally fired up and able to complete even 4 goals in 90 days, and that's possibly better than what some people do in a year. So it's really important to break this down. That's why we use the 6-step strategy, so that this huge goal list doesn't become overwhelming and you just don't know where to start, so you just don't start. And also, I don't want you to pendulum swing from all to nothing. So it's all about gradual, gentle steps.